We're off with white balance. Look how white I am. Oh my God.
I've been saying that for years.
I know. Well, when people hear me play drums, they say that.
Oh, yeah.
They say that quite a bit.
I've been there, pal.
Yeah, we all. So, hi everybody. My name's Dan Boul. I'm president of 65 Amps. I'm sitting here with a very august group today in my living room, and it's one of the few cloudy days in LA, so the white balance is going to change over and over again. But so the picture looks weird, but we're here today. It's March 26th,
You look like
2014.
Michael Jackson.
I am whiter than Michael Jackson. That's right. We got a great bunch of guys. There's Frank Falbo here from Falbo Designs, Falbo Guitars. Daniel Tyak from Salvage Custom. Miles Rose from Hell. And from GuitarAmplifierBlueprinting.com. My friend and buddy who helps me with a lot of stuff. Tim Mitchell is here from Fixed Pedal Boards. And my friend Howard Johnson, right there behind me. You know, it's funny, Howard, when you got in the picture, it got better.
Everything works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Told you.
Scoot over, man.
That's because that lobby in Washington on the digital stuff is starting to work.
So, you're very pale, brother. Actually, I'm not. It's if for some reason my camera's not happy today, so it's going to look like a faded film from the 60s. So what we're doing here today is I contacted Daniel because I wanted to make a pedal board to show off the active loop that Dave Friedman designed that's in the whiskey. And as many of you know, I'm not much of a pedal guy, but I've been completely blown away with this loop, this Friedman loop that's in the whiskey. And so I thought I would make a really highly functional kind of pro-level board. It's robust and quiet, and I keep the impedance relationship between the guitar and amp together. And I have options of going in the front of the amp and in the loop for different pedals, etc., etc. And that's as far as I know what to do. As far as wiring those up, every time I've tried to wire up pedals or pedal board, it looks like Jethro Bodine did it. And it's noisy and it doesn't sound right. So one guy says here, no joke, my 265 amps and a Salvage pedal board is the reason I eat ramen noodles every night. I'm sorry. So yes, Howard Johnson is right, someone writes. I know, man, Blazing Saddles guys are here today. So anyway, Daniel's nice enough to drive up from San Diego. And we're going to sit and talk about pedal boards. And Tim brought a bunch of pedals. A couple other guys lent me some pedals. I've got some prototype Bogner pedals here that I think are outstanding. I think when you guys hear these, you're going to be blown away. I was showing this earlier. If you can see this, this is one that has a little bit of compression built into it. It won't have the wood plate on it. They're going to do paint. I just have the prototypes. But if you look here on the back, if I have that correctly, I don't have my glasses on, you can see it has a Rupert Neve transformer in it. All of the new ones do. So those of you familiar with recording consoles know that Rupert Neve is kind of considered to be a transformer wizard, a savant. For those of you in the South, he's the Dale Earnhardt of transformers. Yeah, the drag racer gets that joke.
I got it.
I mean, Dale Earnhardt was a weird, savant guy. How can you get a car that close to somebody going 225 miles an hour and not wreck?
He wasn't that close. They were touching.
Yeah, they're kind of, they were rubbing.
There's just nobody would say anything to him because he would take it.
He beat the shit out of
Yeah, he'd be happy to take it up with you after the race was done.
That's right. He'd come at you with a tire iron, so you got a fucking problem?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But anyway, so we're not going to play any of these pedals today. We will very soon. Hopefully we can pull this together, rapidly. And then I'll come back and I'm going to start doing my show for a little while over at Dave Friedman's studio at Tone Merchants. So I think as early as next week. And so over there we'll be able to play it and go through everything.
Outstanding.
Yeah, he's got a nice little production suite over there, and I think we're going to set up in the showroom at Tone Merchants, which is gorgeous. I don't know if you've been over there. And then use his ISO booth for the speaker cabinet. And I'm going to take all my Neve preamps and Royer ribbon mics and stuff over there. and it should be pretty cool. So hopefully pretty soon we'll be able to display this for you. But anyway, Daniel, tell us about Salvage. Like, where are you guys? What do you do? What makes you different than other pedal board people? Because I know the answer to that, but I want to hear your answer.
We're just a teeny little shop in San Diego, and it started from a hobby that went crazier than I could handle real quick.
Yeah,
So-
but clearly you have some like nice woodworking skills
Yeah, it's
and good skills using Tolex.
yeah, we like to think that we're okay at what we do.
Yeah.
We enjoy it. It's
Can I pull this up and
yeah,
show it?
absolutely. No, I'll load it up. That's just my working rig.
So this is a Salvage pedal board, which looks like, you know, a tweed Tolex briefcase.
Yeah, we actually had started, when I first did the first couple, I had old vintage suitcases that
Yeah.
I just retrofitted and
It
turned
folds
into
down.
a pedal board.
Mm-hmm.
And then we quickly ran out of those. And
Yeah.
because we had a ton of orders, so we started developing some style cases that looked like,
Little repros.
yeah, kind of old, like just had the same kind of vibe as an old, you know, vintage suitcase. And then we sort of developed some finishes, and
Yeah.
you know, one thing led to another, and it took off like crazy. So the whole, there's a board right there.
So here's the inside of the board, and you know, this is a simple one that's mono, but he's got it all pre-wired with all the power supply stuff in here, and you can control it all externally. And you know, you can see it's really nicely made. It's, you know, got dovetail joints on the wood. Really sort of a classy, nice take on doing pedal boards. Very fun.
Dan, if that was your pool man, you need to get somebody else.
No, my pool guy is different.
They were here like 4 minutes.
That's my neighbor's pool guy. Well, we have some like middle class white problems, isn't we? I'm a pool guy. So lazy.
Some hypervigilance going on.
Don't you hate it when you're on vacation in Paris and then they break a vase and don't tell you?
You can play Santa Barbara Blues with that.
Yeah, that's right. We could write a Santa Barbara Blues song about it. Frank and I have this ongoing conversation. Like, just to go, it's the same thing in San Diego. Actually, you guys have the same problem. You go listen to a blues band in San Diego or Santa Barbara, and it doesn't matter how miserable the song is. It sounds pretty happy.
Not too bluesy.
Like Frank and I were in Santa Barbara a few months ago, and there was this blues band playing, and they're really good players, and they were laying it down, but it just sounded really happy. And then he's like, look, and you look out, and there's like, you know, a cruise ship and the beautiful sun, and you know, there's beautiful people everywhere, and the weather's perfect, and you're having fantastic food. Like, what kind of blues do you write about that?
Yeah.
Like, oh, my Tesla needs a charge. But anyway, back to the real thing. So you and I met at NAMM a couple years ago, and you came in and graciously dropped off one of your small boards like this, and I haven't had a chance to wire it up.
No, it's pretty naked still, Dan. It's
I honestly, I didn't even open it up other than to look inside of it until a couple months ago. I brought it here, and because that's how little I use pedals. But I have been telling everyone about it. Everyone that comes to my office, I go, yeah, check it out. It's cool as hell.
sweet.
So anyway, so how long have you guys been doing this? About
A little over 2 years.
a little over 2 years.
We're
And you're in South San Diego?
yeah, we're kind of East County, San Diego.
East County,
Inland a little bit.
Yeah.
Right near where Taylor Guitars is.
Right.
So if anybody's ever been there for a tour, we're almost neighbors.
Sure.
Right across the street.
That's very cool.
So our shop's probably the size of a bathroom over there.
No, it's
And,
bigger than that. It's bigger than this room, isn't it?
It's slightly bigger than this room.
Yeah.
It definitely looks bigger on the internet.
My first shop was not this big.
That's good. Yeah. My first shop was a pretty much a circus tent in my backyard.
Yeah,
So-
mine was the little shack out
Yeah.
back.
No, yeah, mine started with a little
No plumbing, but electricity.
8x8
Yeah.
little shed from Home Depot in my backyard,
Mhm.
and a bench that I had off to the side, and then that kind of evolved into a carport tent. Because we're in San Diego, we could work year round outside.
What do you got to worry
so,
about, rain?
You know, it was nice. The kids were
Yeah.
running around out there and having a good time.
Right.
And then we finally were just maxed out because I had 2 carport tents up.
Right.
I had taken over the wife's carport, and she wasn't allowed to park there anymore, and it was pretty outrageous. So
Yeah, I went through that cycle with my house as
we
well.
moved
yeah.
into a bigger shop, and now we're pretty much outgrown that as well. So.
Yeah, and so you're a player too. I know you gig around town. You play in a band at your church.
Yep. A lot of
And
stuff.
and you're constantly working.
Yeah. It's pretty much all the time. Sometimes I get a Saturday off. So
Right. Well, I've looked on your Facebook pages, and there's pictures of you playing guitar when you were a kid and stuff.
Oh yeah, I've been playing for 20 years, I think. So,
Right.
not that I'm any good, but I've been playing for 20 years now.
Yeah. I've been playing golf for 40 years.
Yeah.
But oops, a little screensaver there. Let's see.
Just for example, like here's kind of how these guys work. I don't know. I should be able to do this.
Yeah.
The whole idea behind
Come a
them
little
is,
closer if you can.
Yeah.
Feel free to scoot on in. We can move all this shit.
we can see it there.
If you move out of the way.
If I would
Dan
get
blocking
Get
the-
my Cabeza Grande out of the way, yeah. I will get out of the way, I promise.
All right, so the way these guys work is just kind of suitcase vibe, and the board folds out, and then it's just on the two little hooks,
Right.
and the case just goes off to the side wherever you can
Can I hold this up?
leave it on stage. Yeah, this is one of my
It's a nice little board.
this is my current working rig, which changes all the time.
And this is stereo board, right?
That one is stereo. It's not hooked up at stereo right now, but it has the option to go stereo. So
Right.
sometimes if I'm running the Strymon stuff on there, I'll run it in stereo sometimes. And
Right. Well, I can, I don't know if it comes across on the webcam, but I can see through the vents here how cleanly and nicely this is all wired. And you can see how efficient all of his wire routing pads are.
Yeah, and that's kind of a quick and dirty job. That was because I change it every couple of weeks. I change it up, so I just sort of throw it on there.
Yeah.
We do a lot of setups for people. We've done the demo boards for Earthquaker and JHS and Strymon and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And those we do real clean setups on. But if it's a working board, it's like you're changing stuff around.
It's way cleaner than if I did it.
It's easier to just kind of push things to a side. So we do different levels of setups. Sometimes
Yeah.
we get real crazy if it's not going to change. We do the drill tops and everything goes right through the tops and
Ah.
make it real cute. So
You ever thought about putting a fuzz pedal on that pedal board?
there's a couple fuzzes. There's no drives on there right now. Actually,
This is
guy-
a fuzz board, yeah.
this guy is a newer one. Heavy Electronics sent it to me. The Sonic Oppressor, and it's kind of a
Sonic Oppressor?
Sonic Oppressor. It's kind of a compressor
Happy.
/ low gain drive / preamp.
That really that hurts your self-esteem when you play it?
It doesn't. It actually
Yeah.
makes me feel a lot better. So I actually
Have to take a shower.
I actually took
Yeah.
all of any lower gain drives off, and I was just running the amp a little bit dirty, and then that has a little bit of dirt, and just cleaning it up with a volume knob.
That's cool.
But that was so right now, yeah, it has mostly fuzzes and no dirt on it.
Yeah. Very
I
fun.
like the fuzzes. And then this is a really cool guy from Fairfield Circuitry. It's called Randy's Revenge. It's a ring mod / trem, and every tone in between. It just does all these interesting texture things.
Wow. I've never played anything like that.
Some cool stuff, and usually those are just there for flavor.
Mm-hmm.
So you can add a little flavor here or there depending on what you're doing. And I do a lot of church stuff, which is a lot of textures and
Yeah.
things like that. It's not so straight ahead.
Well, the acoustics are so weird when you're in church because they're always really hot rooms.
Yeah.
So you have to do subtle things.
Yeah.
You
And a lot
can't
of-
come in with a
yeah.
sledgehammer in a room that has that much decay and
Yep.
reverb in it. You know.
So this is a little bit more of an aggressive setup with the Fuzz Factory and things like that.
Right.
But sometimes it gets a little cuter and lighter drives and more delays and things. But
Very cool.
playing last week called for a little more aggressive. So.
Right.
You have to play different too if you know God's listening.
Yeah, that's right.
You know,
God doesn't like clinkers.
you know.
That's right.
Yeah.
Gotta have-
I mean, that pedal even has the all-seeing eye on it.
Yeah, that's
which
right.
That's right.
is pretty cool.
That's right. Yeah, clinkers are not cool when you're in church.
Yeah.
But
Because they also hang on forever due to the acoustics in most churches.
yeah, the clinkers
Everybody
ring.
knows.
They ring. So what I want to do with my board, Daniel, is I've got a couple of germanium things,
Mm-hmm.
and I've got a couple of other little drive pedals, and I'm gonna borrow a clon from Tim. It sounds like.
Yeah,
And
no,
you-
I brought it for you.
And he's got like a real clon and an older one, it sounds like. And then I want to run those in the front, and then put all the time-based stuff into this fantastic loop. And I want to try to do it in a way that's really, really clean, Also, for me, not being a pedal guy, one of the things I really want to focus on is I want it to feel like I'm still plugged straight into the front of the amp. You know, and keep that impedance relationship the same, and that ability to push and lay back, not get into the. One of the things I've experienced with a lot of pedal boards is that when you're plugged in through all of the stuff, even though it's true bypass, I really get more of a sterile, digi, sort of hi-fi, clinky tone out of it. I lose a little bit of the roundness and warmth of my guitar. And you know, I've got guitars that I think are kind of distinct sounding, and I have certain pickups and certain setups in them to get certain things. I'm trying not to lose that as much as possible.
It's real easy to lose the sound of your guitar amp relationship.
Yeah, you
real
lose the
fast.
character.
And if you, I find,
like when
there's the whole buffer true bypass thing.
Mhm.
There's 1,000 raging debates on the internet, and
That's a lot of personal preference.
it all
I
gets
guess.
boiled down to if you like the way it sounds, it's fine.
That's right.
So-
Yeah, there's no right or wrong. Yeah, that's right.
Exactly. So a lot of guys will.
We're talking about opinions. So
Exactly.
the validity of any opinion ends with its owner.
We'll just go with the
Yeah.
overarching opinion that if it sounds good to you, it's perfect.
Yeah.
You know, that's the tone
That's
that
right.
you need.
And it's so every
So-
guitar, every player, everything's different. So
So a lot of guys will get real crazy with the buffers and do a buffer in the front and a buffer in the back, and then their delay pedal has a buffer, and they have a buffer built into their volume pedal, and generally that's too many buffers. You pretty much need one thing to push it through, or to balance the impedance,
right.
or to get that.
That's
that
kind of
signal
what I'm
level.
thinking. Like I played Frank's board a couple weeks ago, and he's got a boogie buffer on there with a booster switch on
Yep.
it, I think. And you know, with that thing on, even though it was boosted like 5 dB or 3 dB, when he turned it on, it felt like I was plugged into the amp.
Yeah.
And how many pedals are on your board? 18, 20?
Yeah, what time is it?
Yeah, yeah, a pile of pedals.
Gotcha.
So, you know, I think you and I talked about this a little bit. Listening around on the internet and seeing the shootout videos. I think I'm gonna try that Layla, whatever it's called, and give that a shot. And it's not near as big as it looks online. Like it looks like it's this
Looks
big.
like you-
Are you talking about Sunday Driver?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny. I grabbed one. No, he doesn't even like pedals. I was gonna.
Oh, you're gonna bring it?
I was gonna bring one. Yeah,
Ah.
I almost did.
Well, if you're not using it, I'll buy it off of
No, you can have it. Sure.
Okay, well there you go.
Yeah.
Sunday driver it is.
Aren't you going out to his shop after this?
I think we're.
Are you guys just meeting
No,
here?
I mean, cause it's so far. It's 4.5 hours from my shop to Chula Vista. So you know.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you can just have your meeting here.
We're gonna
Yeah.
have some lunch.
Say Chicago or
We'll
something.
do some pizza and
A
have a
lot of
meeting.
business goes down there.
What's that?
A lot of business goes down there.
We'll have some business.
Oh, at Chicago?
Right,
Oh,
A lot
yeah.
of stuff goes down.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Where's
So
your shop?
Lancaster.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a bit of a drive.
and Tim does some awesome boards too. I
Well,
like
I'll
it.
give you $20 to throw it in the mail. How about that?
Yeah. No. I'll get it down to you. I mean.
Well, you're
that-
generous. I feel bad. You know, it's just here. I want to at least feel like I'm participating in this.
I'm just a fan of 65 amps. It's
Thank
the
you.
least I can do.
Well,
Just
okay.
love it
Where,
back,
where,
buddy.
where do your chassis come from?
Oh, yeah. Tim makes all my chassis.
Yeah,
You know, I have
picking up
to,
on one of those.
Yeah.
I feel personally I think this is kind of cool because
Here we
you
go.
were at the amp show one time and I looked at your metalwork
Mhm.
and I hooked you up with Mike Francis Chaney. I said, you know,
Mhm.
you need to start doing the chassis for 65.
Right.
And I used to go to Dan would say, we have the best chassis in the world. And I'd look at him and I'd go, no, you don't. And
Not yet.
we'd fight and argue about that. And
I didn't say the best in the world. You're exaggerating.
Well,
I said I'm happy with it.
in fairness, that particular vendor does nice work. There's no question about it.
Yeah.
And they
You do better welds.
right, and that's kind of our bread and butter. That's what we do. If you
Mhm.
look at anything we do, in fact, we just got scolded from John Sir because we welded something that he wanted spot welded, and
Oh, and you get a seam on.
yeah, we seamed it, and so it. You know, that's what we do. We
Yeah.
made our first amp chassis for the late great Red Roads in
Yeah.
80 something.
Right.
So I've been doing it ever
Good,
since.
and I'll plug Tim's stuff because he's probably not going to get too crazy on it. But Tim makes an excellent assortment of pedal risers and things
Oh,
too.
yeah.
We got a couple of them at the shop that they sent down, and they are fantastic.
Well, he
fabrication.
builds these pedal boards like they made hot rods.
Yeah, no,
I mean,
they're
it's
awesome.
got like the tie downs you would use on hot rods.
Oh, look at that.
Zeus
cute little
Casters.
thing there.
Yeah, well, that's kind of our bread and butter. We're focusing on the accessories
Yeah.
more than the pedal boards because I don't have the stomach for it. I'd rather be a fan of Daniel's boards and make stuff that goes on it.
You have a couple things going for you that most people in the pedal orbit don't. Is that you actually have a business?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, right, for sure.
There's
And,
another
yeah, it's
Now, which wah is this?
that's one of the RMC WAs. I forget. It's just a really great one.
Is it a good one?
Yeah,
Check out that
that's
riser.
probably one of my best.
Yeah,
Check out the riser.
I like that.
Dude, these are sweet.
Yeah,
What is
that
Keep the Velcro off
that's
your boss
actually
pedals.
we designed that for Bradshaw. He needed something to where he could get cables underneath of it, and it was easy to use, and his.
Oh, is this a really happening flanger?
We should have had Bob.
Yeah,
come
it's just
over
a good one.
and spray
It's
on
not
this.
true bypass, but it
That doesn't matter.
I know that your airplane noises are not your thing, so.
Actually, you know what though? Because it's kind of funny, and we talked about this on the show before, but something has happened. I don't know if it's a midlife crisis or whatever it is, but I kind of completely divorced myself from that guy. You see the picture over there?
Oh, that's you?
That's me.
I would've
1987.
walked right past that guy, going, God, look at that Randy Rhodes wanted me.
And
Where's Dan Boul?
We should put that up on the screen.
oh,
there for
I've
everybody to
shared
see.
it before. They've all
Okay,
seen it.
okay,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
But
I took a
so
picture of it one time and posted it on Facebook.
I went, ass over tits into the '80s, like
You should
full
totally. You
force.
should bring the perm back, Dan. I think just for
The
once,
body
you
wave
know,
perm,
that's
man. I
good.
tell you, it's a great way to kill your hair. But
You know.
and then
We've all
like
got those good
so the whiskey, guys were asking. I had young guys asking for a vintage amp. Like, sure, what do you want, an AC30 or something? No, like the '80s thing. I went,
Like a
oh,
Wagner.
Yeah.
that's a retro amp for you.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I can do that. I was actually playing on the strip in the '80s. I can do that. I know that sound really well. Still in my head. And then at the same time, the band that I'm in, we have two girl singers who came up to me and said they wanted to sing like some Pat Benatar stuff. And I went, oh yeah, I used to play that. Like I know that stuff in my sleep. So suddenly I've let 80s Dan out of the box. And one of the keys to getting that 80s thing is you need a hair of flange around it. Not much, not an overt flange, but you gotta have just a hair of flange on it. And that's the sound.
That's the best one for that.
Yeah. So thank you. My goodness, this will work perfect.
Mhm.
So here's the question, and this might be insane, but this gig that I have is on April 5th, and then I have another one on May 17th. So is there a chance we can string this up before one of those, or is that really pushing it?
We could probably do that.
It's all right if the answer is no.
We
I
could,
just
we
wanna
could
know.
highly likely get that done.
Okay, no pressure. I'm just asking.
We've definitely been talking about this for a while. We just haven't had any official.
Yeah.
Sorry to bring this up, and you're going to think it's pure bullshit. But
Well,
you
if
could
it's
look
you
at-
saying it, yeah.
you could look it up in court records.
Yeah.
But the first time I was married, it was on April 5th.
Oh my God.
So, hey,
Now, when we were at our old shop, we used to have a whiteboard in every room, and we would go around and everyone would have to notate at what time they first heard Miles talk about one of his marriages. And they would have a winner, like the winner would get a free lunch. So you'd write it down on your whiteboard and you go look, and Wayne had like 20 minutes early. I was like, oh! Wayne had like 9:14, I had 9:30. Oh, darn it!
So this could have been an anniversary gig for you.
yeah.
Why don't you invite your ex-wife?
No, that's the first ex-wife. Right?
Ah, the old first.
Yeah. You've
How many
heard
times have
stories
we all
about-
told that story?
Yeah. Well, you haven't.
No, I'm happily married, but I waited until I was in my late 30s to get married. So, well, mid 30s. But anyway, that's a whole other conversation.
There were 75 of them.
Yeah, don't take marital tips from amp and pedal guys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I've had this conversation with Miles. I said, no offense, brother, I love you, but you're the last person in the world I'm taking relationship advice from. So, You know, it's like, taking time management tips from Keith Richards. Like, I don't think so. But Bob, you
But
got.
I do want to know what his anti-aging cream is.
Oh, it was 2 packs a day of Marlboro Reds. He just quit smoking a few years ago.
Wow.
So we got questions here. Greetings from Merry Old Something, Dave King. I assume you're in England. What's Tim's company? Tim has 2 companies. The one that we're talking about today is Fixed Pedal Boards, but the company that makes all of our metal work is called Robert F. Chapman, who is a fictional character they made up to avoid taxes. No, it's
Was he Shackleford?
the previous owner of the business decades ago, I think. And you guys bought the business in the 70s or
Well,
something?
yeah. What happened is when Bob Chapman started the company, one of his first employees was my old man.
Right.
And
this is when you guys were building dragsters.
well, I wasn't even the cliche whatever you want it. But anyways,
You were just a gleam.
my dad worked there, so he could
Toy
work.
built
He'd
with
go
that.
in there at night and build parts for his dragster. He had a popular dragster. And one day, the way my old man tells it is, Bob said, "I'm tired of this place, and I'll sell it to you." This is in 1972, and it had already been around for 20 years. So I'll sell it to you, no money down, just pay me X amount a month. The business can basically pay for itself. So not, if someone's dumb enough to make you that kind of offer, you got to be dumb enough to take it.
Yeah.
So,
What do you got to lose?
yeah. So he did, and company's a lot bigger than then. But as a side note, Bob Chapman lived to 98, and my dad lived to 67.
Mm-hmm.
The difference being my dad was a Chapman's his whole life.
Right.
And see, they died within a week of each other.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So. Who
What
was
did
the
we
smart
learn
one
from
there?
that? Yeah.
Yeah, he got out when he could and lived to be in his 90s.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That was supposed to be funnier than that. Sorry, guys.
So we.
Yeah.
Everyone's like,
Hey, they both died.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't think that's the funny thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
Are we drafting your obituary after this
Yeah.
show?
Yeah, I know.
Just to have it
He
handy.
built
No
some
more
great
questions for
pedal
Tim,
boards.
guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He told funny stories.
So the company, your dad started the company in 1971.
Well, yeah, he bought it in 72, and it had already been around for 20 years, so we had plenty of...
Yeah.
By the way, Dan, I was
Yeah,
married to
if
my
it ain't
first
broke,
wife in
don't
71.
Yeah.
Just,
Right.
just thought I'd let you know.
Where's the whiteboard?
Too late, man. You weren't here. You got here late. We'd already heard 4 or 5 wife comments.
I'm not getting afraid.
I'm not going to say obsessive compulsive disorder because that would be rude. But, yeah. My custom built telly has arrived with a hand. Okay, great. You got new pickups. Right on, Dave King. He missed the rim shot. Yeah, I have a snare drum here. Oh, it's under there. You can. But, so anyway, back to the pedal board. So, considering what I want to achieve, and we talked about this on the phone, how do you see it looking? Like, what's your initial thoughts?
Oh, we gotta figure out exactly what you want to use,
Mhm.
and I always recommend to anybody to just keep it as compact as possible.
Yeah.
You can do so many things with a minimal amount of pedals. It's great
Yeah.
to have a ton of pedals,
Yeah.
and it's fun to experiment, and it's nice to have a platform.
Well,
that
this
you
is
can-
all like the potpourri. I don't want to put them all
Exactly.
on
Yeah,
the
it's
board.
nice.
Yeah.
It's nice to have a platform where you can change it out easily. And
Mhm.
it's like one day you're in the mood for one thing, and one day you're in the mood for other. And that's what the
Yeah.
beauty of pedals is. You have your core tone of your guitar and your amp and
Mhm.
the way you play, and then you bring in some different pedals, and it just changes the textures, and it changes the attack, and it changes the weight and
Yeah.
the feel of
It's
how
like this
how
3D
it
chess game
responds.
you have to play. Right?
So you can turn them all off, and when you have them all off, you want it to feel like you're plugged
There's no-
Plug
straight
straight
into
in.
it.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the feeling that will get you. And so what we're going to do with the whiskey is run your dirt section, your drive. Have a couple
Mhm.
drives on there, the Klon for like a nice low gain push thing,
Right.
and a little bit of dirt in there if we're using a compressor or whatever you want to use. We'll have that all in the beginning
Well,
section.
I'm really fond of that Strymon box.
The OB1.
Yeah. Yeah, the compression's really. Let me show that. Thanks.
Yeah, that thing's nice, and it'll actually do a little bit of dirt too if you.
Yeah, the driver's
if you
pretty
push
good in it.
It'll
Yeah.
give a nice push.
But that 3-way tone switch
Mhm.
is just useful for certain situations.
No, it's a really nice sounding compressor.
But the compression is very transparent. You know, like I don't feel like I'm playing a compressor because there's a few. I'm not going to say names, but really popular compressors that to me feel like the most constipated.
Yeah, it takes all the dynamics out of it.
Life-killing boxes I've ever played, and everyone loves them.
Yeah, I brought one.
Oh yeah.
Because I never use it.
Yeah, right. And I bought it like 3 different times. You know, I buy it, I hate this thing, and I just give it to somebody. You know, like artists come through the shop. Oh, you got one of those fronts? Yeah, just have it.
Yeah.
And then I guess I better get another one. And I have another compressor that I really love that I lent to somebody, and I don't know who it is.
For guitar,
The Jangle box.
for guitar, compressors are nice when you have a mix where you can.
Yeah.
You still have that feel, that sound of that kind of glossed over and a little bit of squish, but you can mix it out so you still keep the dynamics.
Right. And
of
then
your
you know
guitar.
this compressor that Frank designed, this double back. It has I forget what the formal name of it is, but what it does is bleed
Yeah,
the
simple.
uncompressed, unadulterated signal over the top.
Yeah.
So what you can do is dial up really heavy compression, but then still have all your pick attack
Yeah,
and all
that's
stuff. And then
nice.
he's got this 3-way notch where you can set the compression curve on it,
Yeah.
which is
So like a
really cool.
ratio
And I
switch?
I
No,
have
actually, the 3-way switch on that is on the dry blend back, whether it's full range, which would be like a Keeley or like a Wampler or something like
Yeah.
that. You know, not the Keeley, excuse me, but you know, any compressor that
speaker.
just has a blend,
Mhm.
you know, that's full range. You know, they just take the signal and put it right back in.
right.
But then in the middle setting, it's got a mid-range bump to it, and in the high setting, it's kind of like the bright switch has been thrown on your amp.
Oh, okay.
And that's the sound of the uncompressed signal that's being folded back in over the compressed signal. So it
Uh-huh.
almost decides what you're going to allow to sort of leak out ahead of the compressed and sustained
Right.
signal. You know.
Right.
So a lot of times I'll just leave it on the high setting because then I get my transients
You
and
get
my
your
pick
sparkle,
attack. Yeah, I
yeah.
get the sparkle, you know, over the top of the compressed signal.
So now here's the real question. I have the prototype one where it's like a color printer printout on
Yeah.
paper that's
Yeah.
taped on top of the
Yeah.
box.
Yeah.
Does that one sound better than this one?
I couldn't tell you. It probably has it may or may not have my preference of a type of capacitor inside of it. I'd have to look
Okay.
inside and see.
Yeah, I'll go grab it here. For you.
Um,
It's back in my box.
But yeah, they should sound pretty similar.
Yeah.
They should sound pretty similar. Because when we would prototype stuff, we would still prototype it with boards and SMTs and stuff. You
Yeah.
know, we wouldn't prototype it with big components and then switch to SMTs later. So it's pretty much sounded like it was going to sound. Unless we're talking about the gigantic breadboard stuff in the beginning. And yeah, that stuff is always different.
There's a question here about a Tupelo. Hoss, let me talk to you after the
Not
show.
fun
right
to
now.
mount that one.
Yeah.
So anyway, you know, in my mind, I got a couple germanium things. You know, I've got my color boost that I definitely want to have on there, and then I've got this clinch fuzz from Australia, which is basically a fuzz face, but it has a transformer in it. So it takes the nastiness out of the fuzz face thing. And, you know, like put that before the buffer, because I know with those kind of pedals you really got to be plugged into for them to work right.
Yep.
And then a little bit of a drive section. I got these 3 Bogner prototype pedals that sound stupid. I mean, they're so good. And then I guess we should try the Klon and whatever. I got a couple of other random weird things here. I mean, the Zen drive, but you know, whatever you think. And then so that I want to be able to run into the front.
Yep.
And
So that'll go straight in the board. That'll just go straight through
yeah,
and out the board.
right.
Then everything else in your modulation, delay, time-based stuff,
Yeah.
verbs, whatever we end up putting on it, will all be in its own independent loop.
Right.
And that probably, depending on what we're using, especially if you're using like the L cap for a delay,
Yeah,
the Strymon,
that's my sweetie. Unless you want to integrate my.
that'll have a buffer in it.
Yeah.
Which will, anytime you have the trails on,
Mhm.
it's buffered.
Right.
So that will, anything running in your delay loop, so if you have, 20 feet of cable running to your board, 20 feet running back,
Mhm.
you got 40 feet of cable in your effects loop. So you don't necessarily need another buffer
Yeah.
in the loop because those time-based effects generally have
Right.
some kind of buffer in them.
Okay.
So that'll be fine for that, but I
And
think
it's the Friedman active loop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Dave's
Then you're
loop
golden.
is insane.
Just to go off on that, thanks Dave Friedman, because this loop is just stupid.
Real good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Well, that's what put you down this whole path in the first
Right.
place.
It's the first time I've been excited by playing with effects.
Yep.
So I heard how good the loop was. I'm like, oh, now you can make this work.
Yeah.
This will actually do.
Yeah, so we'll
something.
keep real minimal stuff in front of the amp, so you get that sound of that direct plugged in.
Yeah. Keep talking. I gotta adjust the lights.
And then we'll keep everything else all the time based, like we said, in the loop. And
Now, will I have the ability to turn the loopy parts off and still push the front of the amp, or?
what do you mean turn the? Just anytime you turn those pedals off, they go away. Or
Oh, okay.
What do you mean?
Well, I was thinking if I have a setup that I'm digging on the loop side of the board, I want the L cap with the flanger with the whatever, that I can leave that setup, but then just actually click that whole section off.
Yeah. We could put a little a kill for the loop.
Just a
in
little
there.
single button.
Yeah, true bypass
Yeah.
loop
You know.
on the.
Just a
the
single-
base.
So I can actually activate
So when
sections of the board.
when you get into things like that, you can have just a straight true bypass loop,
Mm-hmm.
which will. Sometimes they come in multiple switches, or sometimes you can just have a single,
Yeah.
which will turn on and off that particular section.
Yeah.
Whatever, if you have a single pedal plugged into.
Right.
Or there's a ton of programmable loopers. Oh, we got all kinds of things going on there.
There. Look.
Just
white
keep your
balance.
hand right
Keep your
there.
hand
Yeah. Do not move. There we go.
I'm listening.
You got a ton of different options on programmable loopers, but we want to try to keep the board pretty small.
This hurts.
So
Whoa.
distracting. Anyway, there's different ways you can do it, and you can go from really simple, straightforward to
Mm-hmm.
full like Bob Bradshaw systems, where you have everything, the crazy switchers and controllers, or there's some guys that make much smaller programmable loopers,
Right.
or like
I just imagine mini,
Yeah.
on off, one, just one for the whole loopy side of the thing. Because with the drive pedals, I'm not going to have two on at once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, it's just for different textures.
just
you're
one
gonna be,
one little single switch where I could go.
and you're gonna be pulling some drive out of your amp already.
A little bit,
that,
yeah.
That's right there. So
Especially, well, that's the reason I'm saying that, because with the whiskey, there's the clean side, which is really nice, 6L6 clean, and then the dirty side is just really dirty.
yeah.
So I can't imagine that I'm going to want to be hitting a lot of dirt with that, but it'd be nice just to kick in whatever I have set up on the loop side
And
of the board.
since with the band you're gonna be delving into the 80s drive
That's
territory,
right,
you're
yeah.
gonna use the whiskey, just the whiskey, and then some things
There'll
from
be choruses and
Exactly.
flanges and,
Something
and
from your
long
modulation
digital
side.
echoes. And,
yeah.
you know.
So then when you're using the clean side, but you want to have just a little grit, a little bluesier feel,
Mhm.
something, whatever
Yeah.
you want, then you can turn on a drive or so. and
yeah,
get
some
that
kind of
in
low
the
gain or
control.
medium gain.
And actually, we can put the foot switch for the whiskey on the board and
yeah.
have another plug. We'll build it into the loom, so
Okay.
it'll be into the little snake that goes back to your amp.
That'd be
There'll
great.
be 4 sends.
It's just a single switch, it's a single
Yeah.
latch.
Yeah. So then it's good. Then it'll just Is it on the foot switch? Is it a attached cable or a plugged in?
I can go either way.
Okay, so
Doesn't matter.
we'll do it so we can just attach it right to the board, and then when you plug in your snake,
Yeah.
you just plug in the other side of your snake all on your amp,
Right.
and you're good to go.
That's cool. And that's the other thing. I guess it's kind of screensaver sucks. So you were talking about making me, a pseudo snake to go from the board.
Yeah.
3 leads, all nicely dressed and all that stuff. And do we, because I usually use these guys.
Yeah.
Brian Mendes colossal cables.
Yeah.
They're insane. So, Brian, if you're watching, I might call you.
Yeah.
But I have a few of these already pre-made. But
Yeah.
would-
Well, we can use that wire if that's your preference of wire. I mean, every
Yeah.
wire sounds different, feels different.
these are the most
um,
transparent, rugged cables I've ever seen. Obviously, because it's sitting here under an amp. And This particular cable is 4 or 5 years old, and they just don't break. And we beat the daylights out of cables at our shops. And you can see the strain relief that he puts on it.
Yep.
You know, it's insane. And he literally has a secret sauce that he puts in here. It's a liquid metal alloy that eradicates all oxygen no matter what you do. So if you solder around that, it just, you know, there's no capacitance, and they're just completely transparent. But he can make capacitance for you if you're like one of those guys that believes Hendrix's secret tone was a chord.
Yeah.
You don't have to play like Hendrix, just buy this chord.
Right.
If that were the case. So anyway, they're fantastic. But I mean, whatever you like as well.
Yeah, we can. I mean, if we can get some of the bulk wire, I mean, we don't have secret sauce for it, but we can.
Well,
figure something out.
we can just send him the specs, and he'll make the cables.
Yeah, we can do that too.
Because you want to hardwire hardwire those into the board, or we're going to do them all on jacks?
It'll be all on jacks on the side.
Oh, we can just send him the specs.
Yeah, and that's fine too. I mean, I'm fine anyway. Like this
I think
guy
I have
has
like 3 of these. I don't know,
like this guy has the 2 jacks, so yours would look like out to your amp.
Mm-hmm.
Effects send, effects return, how
Right.
you do it, and a foot switch. So it would just have 4 jacks in it,
That's cool.
and then everything would just click, 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 and they go back to your amp, and it has adequate pigtails on the end to reach each
Right,
thing,
right.
and you're good to go. So then everything goes back to your amp in a nice clean fashion. And inside we put little Hammond patch boxes. We wire everything into those.
Oh, okay.
So it's all shielded and protected, and
Yeah.
you know,
Nice RX,
takes care of
quiet.
takes care of it. Actually, I think on your other board we were still doing those with lead wires that we
Mhm.
ran out, just to go to each one that we'd solder on the jacks. But we found that you can have some interference on
You get
those.
some noise, yeah.
If like your AC cable is next to it, you'll get noise for sure.
Oh, okay.
If it's real close to it. So we started doing the little patch boxes on the inside,
Okay.
and
Cool.
you know.
See, that's all important information for these guys.
Have you ever tried Moo Metal around the AC?
We should actually talk.
Yeah,
We could
you're
probably make
you're a
some nice
metal
little
guy.
boxes.
You're a metal guy.
Yep.
Mu Metal. When I was at Data General, we used to have.
Which wife was that?
One. That's in the era of EW1, ex-wife 1. We used to use Mu Metal shields on the top of all these 15 by 15 boards.
Right.
And those shields back in that day, in the 70s, they were $75 each. And it was 3 layers at 60 degree or whatever.
Oh, yes. That's
3 layers and then a non-conductive stuff on the top and the back. But is that stuff available easily?
Oh, yeah. It's just a matter of money. Like I said, Moo Metal's expensive.
Yeah, because typically, big high wattage heads, if they have a reverb tank in the head, the reverb tank is so close to the transformers that you get hum. And I always thought, wow, somebody ought to make some Mu Metal just pieces that just tacked on top of a Velcro or silicone adhesive or something.
Literally just yesterday, I moved a reverb tank and a head up to the top of the head instead of the face of it.
Yeah.
And the noise went down like 60%. But there's no eliminating. There's no good spot for it. It's simply
Oh, that's not
proximity.
his.
I was thinking some metal person ought to come out and say, you know what?
If you
Here's a
metal that
piece
transformer,
that's about as big as a transformer.
yes, cover this up.
And I just stick it on here with some Velcro or anything.
Yes.
Well, we've been messing around with that
Big
for a
market.
while, but the problem with me is I am way more interested in building myself a big pedal board or a little pedal board or whatever and going and playing and cranking it up through my own stuff, and then so I don't I just do stuff for myself. So that's why I'm more interested in.
That's what I do, only I just have to sell it to
Yeah,
other
I'm
people
just
and
saying,
keep
I'm
doing
just saying
it.
as a side business, since you guys are in the metal business, if you made some of these things, you'd probably sell a ton of them to people that had amps, but also to amp makers.
Yeah.
The trick with a lot of those things is just educating people. Like there's a lot of interesting tricks that you can do in the amp world and the pedal world and whatever for an accessory, but most people aren't going to understand what this accessory actually does. So then you have to go on a campaign to educate everybody about it.
Yeah.
Then you can sell it. So you're like
Yeah.
having to work both ways. But having something available like that for people is always.
Yeah, I guess what I'm getting at is I grow weary of the marketing side of things, because we've been an OEM, job shop for people who then go and market it, and that's what I'm good at. That's why I'm trying to.
Yeah.
It's like, I have the pedal board, and that's gonna stay the way it is, and
Right.
we have a deal going with Dave Friedman where we're gonna put together like a proprietary thing for him, but
For rack systems?
but that's and
That's cool.
But that's where our focus is going, towards accessories and stuff, because like I said, I don't want to tell somebody not to buy your board and to buy mine. That makes me uncomfortable. So
Yeah,
what I do is it's like, well, buy that board, but buy our pedal riser or our power supply rack.
And right after this, we're planning on chatting about
Yeah, you guys are doing some
a
business
project
together,
that we're doing
right? Yeah.
together where Tim's building some parts for a board that we're going to be building, and it's going to be
Look,
magical.
now we can see everybody.
Prove my point.
So the key, the white balance.
If I was there, it really would come down. I'm telling you.
Let me, if I move over
Well, when
here.
they were talking before about Jimi Hendrix's tone
No, it doesn't work
and
at all.
Brian Mendez's cable,
Come
those
on.
two
Look
guys
at that, see?
share,
Yeah,
what
see, I
happens.
did the same thing though.
they share common white balance.
It's a good balance.
Ebony and oh, sorry. It's,
Dan, Brian Mendez, and Jimi Hendrix. The reason you were talking about the two of those and the tone and the cables and
oh yeah,
they share white balance.
white balance. Yeah, that's right.
Two of those.
Yeah, they're both pretty well balanced guys.
Yeah.
For more reasons than one. But so let's see. There's a couple questions here. I don't know how much this will. Kirk Spencer says my Layla ABC works great if I plug in 2 amps AB. When I plug in a tuner into C, it introduces hiss. What can I do? I'd probably try a different tuner. But it sounds like your tuner is noisy. But I don't know. I've never seen anything like that.
Send
His or
an
hum?
email to Carl Verheyen. Carl uses Layla boxes to switch his stuff.
So
Hiss or hum? That's the question.
his or hers?
No, his or hum.
Oh, his or hum.
He says hiss, but we want to make sure it's not hum.
60 cycle hum is way different than
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
The
shot
noise.
noise. Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
So Kirk, I don't know if you heard that. Are we talking about 60 cycle hum, or are you talking about hiss?
And what tuner is it?
And what tuner is it?
Not that we know.
How clean is the AC at your house? How clean is the power supply
I have all
on your
that
board?
Layla stuff. I've messed with most of it. I've never ever had that, and I have that.
I mean, say they're
I have
known
the
for being
1 to 3.
astonishingly quiet stuff.
Yeah.
Because they have that weird switch. It's not a real switch. It's like you activate a relay switch.
relay,
You're not actually stomping a switch.
Somebody typed in there.
It's your aperture, not your white balance. Yeah, I'm on a webcam, unfortunately, Haas, and I don't have controlled lighting in here. At other places, I can control the lighting. We're in my front room, and here I'll show you.
Don't get into this. There's nothing funny about aperture, but
Yeah, I was
white
gonna
balance
say.
is funny.
Yeah.
This is-
What are you just joking about the aperture?
There's no good aperture joke.
I don't know, man. I mean, we could go.
Aperture.
We could.
Aperture my ass. Oh, then again, we get.
There is an aperture on your ass.
Exactly.
So.
You know, maybe it is funny. Maybe we can go down.
I was
that path.
gonna say we can really go left field with this aperture ass thing, but I think maybe not. So it's the California sun out of my front yard here that we're dealing with.
Clearly,
It's-
your camera's aperture is too wide because we're
My-
seeing way
my-
too many buttholes right now through the screen. Okay.
The aperture is wide enough that we can catch every asshole in the room, me included. But
Actually, it looks okay now that all the clouds have come in.
yeah, when it's cloudy, it's great. And if I go, see, it gets better. Maybe we all need to wear white shirts or something. Anyway, this is a temporary thing here, doing it at the house. So I'll be doing it over at Friedman's. Dave's going to come on the show a bunch too. We'll talk about. He and I are doing some other amps and all this stuff. So it's going to be really fun. So anyway, what else do you need from me, Daniel? I mean, like, we got a pretty good. I can tell you the pedals I really want to use, and then probably areas where we can do mixing matching. I'm really fond of that old TC chorus.
Yeah.
For that 80s thing, you know, with that little just wash of chorus over the top. I don't think anything beats it.
And this will work with, it's got the actual AC power going on, so we can plug it into the accessory of the
Right.
courtesy out of a pedal power too.
Right.
That'll make it easy.
And I really love the L cap.
Yeah.
I really like the OB1. The Flint, I can take it or leave it. It's good.
Couple things.
The tremolo's really good on it.
One thing a lot of guys have questions on the Strymon stuff, especially using a pedal power or pedal power.
Yeah, they draw a lot more current.
Is they draw more amperage, they draw more current.
Yeah.
So outlets 5 and 6 on a pedal power 2
Mm-hmm.
are rated for up to
400 milliamps.
400 milliamps.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can pull that for an El Cap or a Timeline or Blue Sky or something
Right.
like that.
And if you want to run multiple Strymons.
You got 5 and 6, and that's
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
And with the courtesy out on one of those, you can pull.
What's that?
That's
That's
a
oh,
power too.
That's
Yeah.
And then on these guys, on some of the fuzzes, if the fuzzes are happy with variable voltage, you got the
Mhm.
sag,
Right.
so you can simulate a dying battery.
Right. A 7-volt battery.
Or we can just all argue about how good different batteries sound.
Right.
And
That's
we
fine.
can all hear that.
I for some reason got it in my head that I need to use non-alkaline batteries. Other than that, I don't care. You know, I know my color boost actually noticeably sounds different on a battery than on a power supply.
Alright.
The good news is the germanium there doesn't draw much power.
Yeah.
So you can, I mean, you can get 500-600 hours out of a 9-volt battery.
You can definitely get a lot. Well, if it's
Yeah.
plugged in, it'll drain.
Yeah,
Unless if it's some of the fuzzes that are designed to do that.
but I always just
Have an off
unplug them.
switch.
with-
If you
Yeah,
unplug
or
it.
it'd be nice. Maybe we should do it on the color boost and just put an actual power off switch on it, so it won't drain the battery. You
Now,
can
whose
leave it on
whose
the board.
cables are those?
Oh, those are all the lava cable type
my next question.
tightrope wire.
Darn it, Miles.
And actually, these are.
They're nice.
Let me
Yeah.
pull one of these. They
I guess I need one of those little tiny tuners.
These guys are new from lava, and there's a lot of great pedal companies or cable companies out there.
Yeah.
I have been working with Lava since the beginning because they reached out to Salvage when
Right.
we were a teeny little thing. Not that we're not teeny now, we just have a lot of Facebook fans.
Yeah.
But
You're
they
teeny.
reached out to us and they were really good with us and helped promote us, and I've stuck with them. There's a lot of great cable manufacturers out there, and our preference is Lava, so I don't want to talk bad about anybody else's stuff. But let me show a webcam here about the
Yeah.
how this tightrope deal works,
where
because
it
a lot
is.
of people have questions. So I'll
Hey, why
just
don't you sit down?
I'll pull one of my
Get those to work. I just use this solder.
pull one of mine apart here for you. So the beauty of these, it's actually a solid core wire. So if you bend it and leave it, it'll stay in that position. And so you can kind of wrap it around your pedals if you want to make a particular size. So let me show you how the inside of this works here.
The filter.
So this is actually,
whether it goes
pull that off. This is actually a solid core. Maybe it'll focus. You can see the shielding right here.
Parametric equal.
Oh, gotcha.
So this is a threaded adapter inside of there.
Slope.
It just screws in a teeny little bit
Yeah, I'd like to try that.
so it doesn't come off. Oh, look at that. See how good I am at this?
Mm-hmm.
Screw it on a little bit so it's nice and tight.
Just the curve.
And then the rest of it, the cap goes on,
That's cool. And what's a little switch in there?
and the rest of it just screws on there. And you get these teeny little plugs, which is nice. Hey, do we get any other patch cables like regular Switchcraft?
All I have are Brian's.
Like a right angle thing?
This is Brian's.
Okay,
That's-
yeah. Oh, that's a beautiful cable.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just, I mean, these,
Yeah, let's see what
this
else.
has got the Amphenol plugs on there, which are fantastic, and the soldered guys, there's, huge benefits to having the soldered. There's also awesome, these guys test well. They're not quite as beefy, obviously, but you can fit them on a smaller board.
Oh, really?
So just in terms of size of what they are, you can fit these guys in real tight spaces. This is tour grade, it's never going to have a problem, and it's not going to break down on you. So anyway, that's the tightrope a lot of people have questions on recently because it's a newer product. So I dig the lava cable stuff.
And the ELC stuff is stranded core?
Yeah, the ELC is the extreme low capacitance is their wire. It's stranded core. They have the mini ELC, and they have the soldered version, which is a soldered center conductor and then a crimped ground, and they have the solder-free version. So if you don't know how to solder, you can get the solder-free and put those on there. They're a little tricky to set up. Set them up with using a tester for them. A lot of guys just go to town setting them up, and they don't use the tester as they're going, and then they're on every forum like, oh, my lava cables didn't work, and it's like, well, that's because you're an idiot. But hey.
Yeah, which does get
So I can say whatever I want on Dan's show, because he's not even paying attention right
A
now.
lot of times if I'm setting up the lava, I'll put it in, if it's the solderless,
Yeah.
I'll put it in and then pull it out and take a look, and you'll see if that pin connector has actually gone through the insulation or if it's really gone into the cable.
Yeah, no, when I'm doing those, I usually put it together, push it in there, take it out, look at it, see what the middle is, if you've got it. And sometimes if it's almost there, I'll take like an X-Acto knife and kind of push those semiconductors over.
I just kind of flick it so that it's...
And then put them together, and they work great. So it's just, but the funny thing is, if those same people that were having trouble setting up the solder-free, if they built a solderless cable incorrectly, they're still gonna have problems with it. It's easy to screw up a solder cable as well. You get one strand off your ground touching something else, and it's dead. So
care and feeding.
Whenever you're building anything, whether it be a soldered cable or a solder-free cable, you just have to use care and do it right. Otherwise, it's going to be a mess. So, people are typing things. I don't know what I'm doing. Intex says, hey John Mark, how many bends can you make before the conductor breaks? I don't know. Let's see how many bends it takes to the center of Tootsie Pop. Let's just do that. My board's not going to work after this because I'm going to break it. But hey, so this is, anytime you bend any metal, copper, steel, whatever, you're going to work hard in it. So here's the conductor bending. This is like hard bending that you would never do if it was protected by the strain relief of the shield. So I'm just bending this sucker directly, and it is going to work hard in that copper, and it's probably going to break soon here, because anytime you get that, you get work hardening. It's not breaking. Okay, you're never going to put it through that kind of abuse. It's just not going to happen. Especially because you have the strain relief of the shield, the insulator around it. You're not going to have that kind of stuff. Is anyone even looking at our chat window? I'm totally looking at your chat window. Nobody else is paying attention.
I'm sorry, guys. We're over here like nerding out on pedals.
Dan's nerding out.
Pete Cornish.
Yeah, look at that.
Tube screamer thing. That will definitely need to find a home. The other pedal that I have, Daniel, I just realized that I gotta find it, is the Blue Sky Reverb.
Yeah.
So I don't know why I don't have that here. It must be at my shop. So if you can at least put a place mark for that.
Yep. No, I got Strymon goodies at the shop, so I'll leave a spot for it.
Okay.
I can set it up with the flint or something. Like on there, if you're not gonna use the flint, you can. It's a direct swap for the Blue Sky.
Yeah, you can set it up so that there's room for two Strymons on the board.
Yep.
And then that way you can always decide which two, right? If it's always going to be one of the delays, and maybe it's the Reverb, or maybe it's the Leslie, or...
Yeah. Right. Well,
so then that second Strymon position is always...
And you can swap it out. Maybe your preference changes from the Blue Sky to the flint, and you want to use the flint, and you swap it out.
Well, if I had to pick, the Blue Sky's way better.
Yeah.
I mean, the only reason I got the flint was because of the trim.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Reverb on the flint is good, but not great.
That's funny. I totally like the flint better.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah. I would take the flint over the Blue Sky, and I've had them.
Well, either way.
This is why internet forums exist and go on for pages.
Exactly.
Let's have a 28-page fight and question each other's ancestors. And that's what your opinion's different than mine. Therefore, your heritage is horrible, and you're poor breeding, and you have no education.
That's what we were talking about. It's like,
and my penis is this big.
True. Wow. Once you come down to the end of it, if it sounds good for you, then it's the right thing.
Right. That's right. Well, it's food.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's just food. You can't tell someone that food doesn't taste good if they're enjoying it.
Yeah. If you prefer it, then it's good.
It's just food. It's all subjective, and there's nothing else. It's nice. I get to watch my kids out here. One of my daughters is out there right now.
Firebird Bob's waiting for a game of Dungeons and Dragons to break out. I think
No,
he's
we're all
calling
going,
us
we're all
nerds.
going to a Renaissance fair here.
I'll be in the car.
We're going to try to speak in Old English with my southern accent.
Yeah, I'll be on the one.
Hey y'all, what if thou give me a beer?
Nick DeMeo,
Hey, baby.
I am not converting Dan to a pedal junkie. He's doing it himself.
No, I'm not going to become a pedal junkie. I just want to have one board with like serious.
You know, what
Stuff on it.
a lot of people don't realize here is the amount of pedals here
Mhm.
is nothing compared to what you had at the old shop.
Oh yeah, I
Racks and
sold.
racks, yeah.
I sold
Yeah, I mean,
hundreds of pedals because everyone sent them to me and try this out and only pay for it. No, I won't let you. Then after a while, guys would come in and go, "Hey, how much for this?" I don't know, how much cash you got?
then again, Carl Verheyen has over 150
Never heard of it.
distortion pedals. Just
Yeah.
just as distortion pedals.
Well, I know
That's
guys
on my
that
board.
I know guys. It's all right. Go ahead and sit down there. You can talk for a while. Go ahead and sit down. I was going to get off camera
I got a
and
few
buy
of them
them.
too.
And we
It's
all
a
got
bad
it.
habit.
No.
I'll say, I'll keep
But,
my
I
mind
don't
here.
actually even need them.
I know
That's
guys.
what people just always send them.
I know, Tim, you think you have a problem, but I know guys that really have a problem. And I'm not going to say any names, but a couple of big producers here in town have racks this tall with 12 shelves of integrated wired up pedals done by Bradshaw. And the entire floor underneath their console is switches. And during any track, they can sit there behind the console and go, "Kadoosh," and one of the 97 pedals actively wired into the switching system will come on.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's completely,
That's
it's,
awesome.
it's just wrong.
Well, see,
I'm sorry.
well, that's the
What's
beauty of
wrong about
that's the
that?
beauty of Bob's work, though, is because he can wire up a
Yes.
system like that, and
And
it's
it will
still
be
gonna
clean.
sound like your guitar hitting your amp.
Bob's a genius.
Yeah, no, Bob's
Not to mention,
But he's right up the hill. We should let him come down
he's
for this
right
kind
up-
of thing.
yeah, he took the words right out of my mouth. We should
And he
invite
used
him
to make
over.
pedal boards when they were rack equipment. Do you guys remember
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Last time I was at
Yeah.
Bob's
Oh,
shop,
yeah.
he did say that he was happy that the trend was moving back towards pedal boards instead of racks. He was like, I kind of like. I'm
If you
kinda
talk
tired
to
of
Bob,
racks.
if you talk to Bob Bradshaw, ask him about when he was little Bobby Bradshaw and he worked in the back of Musician Service Center when Dave Buchanan was his manager, and he used to fix keyboards
That's funny.
and stuff
Yeah, I trust him to fix the
when he
keyboard.
was a little guy.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna remember all that, so Bob, watch the show and
Watch
tell
the
me
show.
Feel
that.
free to read some questions there. See what they're saying. Jump in.
All right, we got some questions here. We got any recommendation? This is from Muller12AX7.
Oh, that'd be a question for Miles.
Any recommendations for a power source when you have more than 2 to 3 Strymon pedals that require more power?
Yes.
I heard Voodoo Labs Digital was usable, but what do you think?
Here it is. Right here.
That's kind of the weak link of that. If you want to run a lot of pedals, you got to run more than one power supply. Even that
Yeah.
won't handle like
Like there's 2 for.
Well, this
Oh,
one
yeah,
this
yeah,
one's got
as well.
4 high current, so
It
the
does?
Mondo will take up to 4 high current, and actually this guy the L6 is this AC? No, this is all DC. I
And
don't
the
know.
Line 6 is in between Strymon and normal. It's like 200 milliamps instead of 4.
Yeah, it's like
The-
2.
Because the
Well,
normal ones are 100 milliamps.
yeah, you can run some of the Strymon ones. I've definitely
Did you
run
bring
them
one of those
on
guitars that never
on
was
things that
taken
are
out?
underrated.
You can run them on the L6, but you can't run
Or
the 2.
any amp?
Yeah, can't run 2 on there. Some of these I don't know.
That's pretty neat
Inside
stuff.
of this guy, what exactly the specifications are, how much you can run per. If it says 400 milliamps, you can pull 400 milliamps.
But the Strymons don't draw 400.
They don't draw a
I
full
think they
400.
draw a little over 2.
They draw anywhere like the OB1 only draws 40 milliamps or something.
Yeah, well, that's
like
an
that.
analog pedal.
So-
yeah.
Well, yeah. So you got different milliamp current draws on them. You just got to
This
look.
one,
It goes from 250 to
You don't have to
300 on the
adjust
smaller
bias
ones,
or anything.
and then it's 400 or so on the bigger units.
Because this, yeah, the timeline and stuff like that, but this one doesn't have the sharp
Most fun I
processor.
ever had with
There's no
guitars in
processor.
my life is when I
Gotcha.
was
Oh, it's
in
just a purely
college.
analog?
It's just a nice little
On the
compressor
brass
booster.
with
That's why it
budget
costs
on it.
$100.
And that was the first one they ever did.
Yeah, and it's really nice.
So
compression.
pedal power Mondo, I really like, as far as the power supply goes, I really like the MXR MC403. That's the one. Actually, we we're just talking about Bob. Bob's got his name on it. It was designed in collaboration with Bob, and the guys over at Jim Dunlop,
He
and
knows
that
me a bunch
sucker
of those. That's
is
why you don't have one.
Oh, really?
fantastic.
Yeah,
So you can
yeah.
actually, it says it's rated at 80 milliamps out. I probably shouldn't tell everybody to do this, but if you were to try it
Mm-hmm.
on something that's much higher, like a Strymon pedal,
Right.
it definitely runs my Strymon pedals, even
So
though
I
it
put
says
a
it's
meter
only
on it
rated
and
at
see
80.
what it really does.
So you can push that guy a little harder than
That's a warranty
says-
cover your ass situation.
Yeah.
But what
Well,
about-
it's not gonna break anything because it's only not going to draw the current. It's not gonna
It just won't
overload
provide it.
anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But have you heard Decibel 11?
I have definitely seen their power
Dave
supply.
Friedman said he really likes that.
Yeah, they have a power supply
So they're
that works
really
pretty good.
quiet, like unusually quiet, like they're. Not that
Yeah,
I've
I-
ever
well-
thought these were noisy.
Well, that's the question, is that if you exceed the milliamperage, can a power supply become noisy? You know what I mean? Because you're trying to pull too much
Yeah.
out of it. That's one thing that I haven't necessarily experienced it.
Switching power
But-
supplies can,
Yeah.
but, you know, it depends
Yeah.
whether it's a
Listen.
ferro-resonant supply or a switching power supply.
Yeah.
The only one that I've ever seen that was really good in that variety is the G Lab, which they're hard to find anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Where it has a laptop switching power supply built right into it.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, and they're like even for all their whatever I've drawn a blank FCC stuff.
Yeah.
They just cut a notch out of the housing and the sticker that's on the power supply shows through. And that's,
Oh, really?
yeah, that's how they do it. But that's 8 400 milliamp outs.
Wow.
And it's
Yeah.
this big. It's
Yeah.
it's great, but there's something
Seahawks-
going on with them.
the
They
Seahawks-
get 'em.
It's 2.4.
Coix, however you say that. That company has a lot of real high milliamps out.
Yeah,
They're
chocks.
chocks. They're
Yeah.
fairly expensive, but they are designed as well to run a lot of high milliamperage out pedals. So that
Just
one,
can't
How-
get
how
past
many-
that
how
RCA
many amps do
out.
you want?
I hate the RCA.
You know,
I changed
Right,
mine from the
depends on how many pedals.
Chop.
Well, no.
To
If
the
you wanna talk to
MC403.
Aldi,
Yeah,
manufacturing.
Yeah.
that's
I
probably my
can
favorite,
design a
hands down. I love
ferro-resonant
that one.
power supply that if
Yeah.
you want it.
It's a good one.
A lot of
Throwing
guys
out
think they're
5
noisy,
amps
but
at
I've
10.
never had that.
Yeah,
one.
MC403.
It's not hard
At
to
5
do.
volts, 12 volts.
I make a nice mounting bracket for that too.
All right, so it's 1:45. I think
It's
we
a
ought to
packet.
go get some food.
Pizza time.
Let's go over to Taste Chicago. Hey, Frank, do we need to pre-order the pizza since it takes so long to make?
You can, yeah. Did somebody ask that question on the screen?
No, I did. Yeah, Joe Montana's on here.
Yeah.
He's going, hey, what's up,
Yeah, I
fellas?
haven't heard from you guys yet.
Yeah.
I'm not ordering anything. The first time I had one of their pizzas, Frank brought it to the shop and it was like excellent. And so I'm just going with the flow.
Hi, Steve. We talked a little bit about loopers, but I think on this board I'm not going to do, we're just going to have one little loop for the time-based stuff.
Yeah.
And that's it. So I can, set up a combination of pedals and then turn them off and on.
You know, the stuff you're talking about using is good. You know, if you had the, I don't know, a pedal that was designed by somebody who was your boss, for
Yes,
example.
I understand.
You know, if you had certain pedals that didn't sound good when they were off, then you would bypass loop them. But
Yeah.
your overdrive stuff that you'll have on the front end, the stuff you'll be playing with, if you're putting a Pete Cornish unit in
Yeah,
there,
and the Neve
you know,
transformer
yeah, you'll
Wagner.
probably be okay. You know,
Yeah, no, it's just,
without a true bypass loop.
for me, it's being
on
able to
the front end.
just set a combination.
Yeah.
And instead of going click, 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 I can just go, and it's
Yeah.
in or out. That's about it.
I'm gonna talk to somebody.
But, so I think we're going to wrap it up for today. So you get an idea of where this board's going. We're going to have a lot of really neat pedals on it. Wired by smart guys. And we got a good group of smart people here. I think you're right, Daniel. We should invite Bob Bradshaw.
You'd probably hate it, but
No, he doesn't like having attention because he's so
You
humble.
want 10 amps?
He doesn't want
600
anybody
pedals off it? No.
saying anything nice about him because he gets embarrassed. But he probably would enjoy it. And it'd be a nice meeting of the minds,
Well, yeah,
in one
yeah,
room.
If you do,
I'm
Um,
if you do switching.
So I think we're going to go ahead and call it a day, and we're going over to Taste Chicago in Burbank. If there's any locals here that want to come by and say hi. And so other than that, thank you so much, guys. Appreciate it. And big thanks to Howard and Miles and Tim and Daniel and Frank and Matt, who's off camera, who you haven't met. And where's Tim? There he is. Say hi, everybody.
Let's do the wave.
So we got a really, really nice. Hey, Don Fever, how you doing, man?
White balance.
White balance.
Somehow when you put your hand up, it's
I
not
can't
being
bring
funny.
myself to do it.
You know what I
Sorry,
mean?
Mom.
You can't.
Oh my God.
I was downtown and there was a.
Okay, Miles, shut up. Let me say goodbye to everybody. And anyway, so
Goodbye, Gracie.
good night, Gracie. And so tune in next week, and lots of thanks coming in here to everybody. Yeah, Hoss, get a hold of me on Facebook, and we'll figure something out.
Yeah, all the questions.
Good to see you too, Don. Thanks for tuning in today, brother. And thanks to all your guests today from Rock and Roll Willie. You guys should film a hangover movie, Firebird Bob says. I think we could. I think we have a reality show in the making here. So,
Bitter reality.
bitter reality, Frank. See, that's funny. See, it's natural.
It doesn't play well to people who aren't musicians. No, it's
Yeah,
not funny.
it's the John Lennon thing, you know, getting better all the time, and he walks by and says, "Can't get no worse." Very good. All right, fellas, thank you so much, and we'll see you next week, and hopefully we'll have an update for you on this ongoing project. So have a good one. Bye-bye.